right, Mario, we got more hockey playoffs to talk about, so let's talk about it. We got 3 games that were played last night between the Islanders and Penguins, the Lightning and Panthers, and the Wild and Golden Knights. So we'll talk about those. We'll talk about game 1 of the Jets versus Oilers of their round, which is starting today. And tomorrow, the final series in the playoffs between the Canadiens and Maple Leafs start tomorrow. So we'll get to that tomorrow when the time comes. But right now, Mario, let's talk about these 3 games in the new series coming up. So let's start off with the Islanders and Penguins. First of all, most of the goals were within the first couple of intermissions. The Penguins scored their only 2 goals in the first intermission. So I'll give credit to the Islanders on that. Their defense really stepped up after that and held them to just those 2 goals. So I do commend them on that. The Islanders scored their only goal in the second intermission. So the Penguins, again, had a great defense. They did a really good job. Both teams showed up and showed out. It was kind of similar to the game they played in the game 1, where the Islanders won that in overtime. Definitely a lot of good, offense was there, defense was there. But in this case, the offense was there, but it kind of wasn't. It wasn't really a high scoring game. It was just 2-1. So nothing really all that great on offense, but on defense, it was definitely a showdown. Like I said, the Islanders held them to only those 2 goals within that first intermission and never let them score another goal after that. And again, the Penguins defense did what they could to hold the Islanders to that 1 goal. Now, the Islanders return to New York. They return to the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island. So you're playing in front of your crowd. You're going home. You got the day off, so got to figure it out. You know what I mean? The series is tied 1-1. Going in overtime the first game, and now you lost in the second game. So now you got to figure this out. You know what I mean? Who's gonna just like the Bruins and Capitals series, like we talked about yesterday, Mario? I feel like this third game will really tell who takes command of the series. So that will be on tomorrow at 7 p.m. It's going to be at the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island. So if you want to check it out, you can tomorrow night at 7. And we'll just see what happens, Mario. Good luck to both teams. It was overall a pretty good game. I did watch this one. And we'll just see what happens tomorrow night, Mario.
You're absolutely right, Nate. I mean, first of all, good news for New York is that it's going back to New York, and they're going to be playing in a home rink. Again, with this game, it was a good defensive game. It really was. But again, instead of pointing to the defense, I want to point to the goalies, okay? Because I'm going to read a stat for you, okay, Nate? I'm going to go to the goalie for the Islanders. So Varlamov, he saved 43 out of 45 attempts. Okay, and so basically the only goals I was scoring him were 2. So he saved 43 out of 45. And that is a percentage of basically 0.956. So when you look at it, Nate, that's basically like 95%. If you want to bump it up, it's 96%. Call it what you want, but it's, again, the point is he saved a lot of goals. The point here I'm trying to make is you cannot allow so many shots to be hit at your goalie. But regardless, Varlamov did a great job of saving those shots, really. And that's the one thing I got to point to, I could point to defense, but I'm not going to because, again, you let 45 shots come at your goalie. I'll say this. I say if you're going to have a good defensive game, I say 35 and under. Okay, that's how many shots need to be hit at your goalie, 35 and under. Okay, for instance, when we were looking at the game we were looking at, I believe it was the Predators versus the Hurricanes. I believe it might have been that game. I could be wrong, but remember how we were talking about the save attempts and everything like that? Oh no, my bad. It was the Blues and it was the I got the
Avalanche.
game. The Blues and the Avalanche. Blues and Avalanche.
Yeah.
All right. Remember I talked to you about Jordan Binnington and how 49 shots were coming at him and he saved 46.
Yeah.
And you remember how we pointed to the other team and it was like 23 out of 25.
Right, yeah.
You feel like the big difference there, Nate? How many shots were getting hit towards Binnington and not the other goalie? That's the problem here, is that there's so many shots being hit at that goalie that they're just not defending. Okay, you got to protect your goalie. It's as simple as that. You got to make sure that there's not so many shots hit at your goalie. And 45 shots to me, Nate, seems like a lot. But regardless, offensively, the only goal that was scored by the Islanders was in the second period, and it was scored by Josh Bailey. As for the Penguins, the 2 goals that were scored were Jeff Carter and Brian Rust, which I find really, really, really interesting because Brian Rust is a good player. And usually I'll talk about cutting off the head of the beast. And so, for instance, if you look to the Hurricanes, they have Jordan Staal. If you look to the Avalanche, it's Nate McKinnon. You go to the Lightning, they got like 3 heads. What do you want to count? Kucherov, Braden Point, or what do you want to count? Steven Stamkos. But I usually say cut the head off the beast. The funny part about this game, Nate, was that the beast didn't really score. You get what I'm saying? Like the beast of the Penguins is who? Sidney Crosby. It's just as simple as that. He's been the beast of that team for a long time. And Sidney Crosby didn't have a goal. He didn't have an assist, but he had 5 shots on goal. So when you really look at it, they did a good job of stopping Sidney Crosby. And look, I mean, if you really look at it, Nate, the Penguins only scored 2 goals, which means if the Islanders' offense were to be better, the Islanders could have took a 2-0 lead. Okay, but the offense just wasn't there. I mean, when you really look at it, the shots on goal were there, but they really weren't accurate. First of all, Jerry, the goalie for the Penguins, he did a good job too. He saved 37 out of 38, which is a percentage of .974, which if you want to count it, that's 97% basically. So I got to give him a lot of credit. He did a really good job. But if I'm going into game 3, right, even though it's in New York, you need to play better defense as the Islanders. You need to. You got to make sure there's not so many shots towards your goal. You got to protect your goalie. It's as simple as that. And if I'm the Penguins, I feel like the offense could have been a little bit better. You could have found ways to get Sidney Crosby more involved. However, regardless, your defense was great. Keep that same energy on defense. But offensively, I want to see a little more energy out of the Pittsburgh Penguins. I want to see the same energy that they had in game 1, even though they lost game 1. I want to see that same energy, but I want to see that same energy on defense as well. So show that offensive energy that you had for game 1 and bring the energy that you had for game 2 on defense. If you could do that, I could see the Penguins ended up beating the Islanders. As for the Islanders, you got to get that offensive energy from game 1 back. And defensively, you did good. It's just, if you could do a little bit better, the Islanders could take a 2-1 lead. So again, like you said, this third game is going to be very, very crucial. But again, if I'm the Islanders, I'm finding ways to get more guys involved besides Josh Bailey. You have Ben Nelson. Ben Nelson is pretty good. Kamarov, he's pretty good as well. Palmieri had a great game last game 1. He had 2 goals. So when you're ready to look at it, Nate, you got to find ways to get these guys involved. And last game, the Islanders just didn't get everybody involved. And again, defense, it was all right, but again, you let too many shots go up against your goalie, which again, shout out to Varlamov, because he did a great job of saving them. He did as best as he could. So with that being said, I wish both teams the best of luck, but game 3 is definitely going to be the switch on who takes the momentum in this series.
Right, absolutely. The next game we're going to talk about is the Tampa Bay Lightning and Florida Panthers. They're at the BB&T Center in I can't remember where in Florida it's located. It's not even in Orlando or Miami or anything. I can't remember. But the Tampa Bay Lightning won this one. What? That arena's not in Tampa Bay. Let me click on it real quick. It is in Sunrise, Florida. Okay. I think that's outside of Miami or something like that. But anyway, let me just go back to that game real quick. They won 3-1. And let me tell you something, Mario. The Lightning are taking control of the series. They're up 2-0. They're going back to the Amalie Center in Tampa Bay in game 3, which is on tomorrow. I believe it's on at the same time as the Islanders and Penguins. I could be wrong about that. But overall, Mario, the Lightning did a really, really great job on offense and on defense. So overall, they had a really good game. They won this one 3-1. Andre Vasilevsky had a really great game, Mario. He saved 32 out of 33. The Panthers only scored once. So that's a really good. He had a save percentage of 97. So that's really, really good. Andre Palat had a goal and an assist. Yanni Gourde had a goal, and Steven Stamkos also had a goal. So Tampa Bay Lightning had themselves a game yesterday, Mario, and now they're taking control of the series. They lead the series 2-0. They're going back to Tampa Bay in front of their home crowd. And I expect the Tampa Bay Lightning to keep doing this. They're the defending champions. They have to do this. They have to do what they have to do to keep that title as the champions. So other than that, Mario, there's really not much else to say. As for the Panthers, they need to do better. They're no longer in front of their home crowd, so you need to upset the Tampa Bay Lightning in their home crowd, in their home arena. You know what I mean? Offensively, they weren't that great. Defensively, they weren't that great either. So if I'm the Florida Panthers, I'm really going to that drawing board. I'm really figuring out what I need to do moving forward, because apparently what I'm doing is not working. You're down 2-0 and now you're on the road. So you need to figure this out. So that being said, best of luck to the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning. They play tomorrow at 6:30. So, and they're in Tampa Bay, so they need to figure something out. The Florida Panthers need to figure out what's going on here. So with that being said, I wish him the best of luck with that, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I actually saw the post-game interview with Steven Stamkos. They interviewed him, and he said, "Look, he said we don't want to keep we don't want to keep scoring 5 goals a game. You know, that's not the way we want to play. Even though it's good to win those games, we don't want to keep having to score 5 goals a game." And he said again, he gave credit to Vasilevsky because Vasilevsky, like I said, Nate, when the lights are on him, he shines bright. Okay, he has proven himself to be a premier goalie, and he did exactly that, Nate. He only let go of 1 goal. And the weird thing is he had more shots on goal on his goal than Dreiger did for the Panthers, you know? And again, the Panthers defense didn't play bad, Nate. They didn't. Really. Like if you look at the stats, 26 out of 28, you only allowed 28 shots on your goalie. Okay? And I'm not going to put blame on Dreiger. I'll say the key factor was this. I think at times the Lightning found openings to capitalize on, and they capitalized on them. And as for the Panthers, they didn't do the same. You know, now if I'm going into game 3, I'm keeping Dreiger in, okay? Because Bobrovsky last game did not play that great. Okay. Now again, obviously it could change from back and forth. However, if I'm the Florida Panthers, you got to go back to that game 1 offense. You really have to. Okay. You had good shots on goal, except you just didn't capitalize. You know, we talk about being aggressive, and that's great, but you also got to capitalize on your opportunities as well. And 33 shots on goal, it's all right. It's not the best again, but you want to be more aggressive, but you also want to be more accurate as well. And again, I talked about the beast, Nate, and the beast got involved. Okay, the Lightning are 3-headed monsters, Nate. That's what they are. You could point to Nikita Kucherov, you could point to Steven Stamkos, or you could point to Braden Point. That's the 3-headed monster right there. Okay, and when you look at them, each one of them got involved in the scoring. Nikita Kucherov had an assist, Steven Stamkos had a goal, and Braden Point had an assist as well. And then not only that, but their surrounding cast also did a great job too. You talked about Andre Palat, he had the goal. You talk about other guys like Gourdet, he had a goal as well, so that counts as a point too. Killorn, he had an assist. So when you really look at it, Nate, there are guys on these teams that are getting involved. The supporting cast is getting involved in this game as well as the 3-headed monster. Okay? So when I say you got to take the head of the beast, get Kucherov, get Braden Point, get Stamkos, get them less interactive with the team. You lock them down and you force the other guys to go. But as for the Florida Panthers, you have to be better. You have to take more advantages on offense. Okay, the only guy for the Panthers that scored was Marchment. He had 1 goal, and Barkov had the assist, as well as Verhaeghe. But other than that, that's really all that happened with the Florida Panthers. Okay, now, so if I'm going into this game, I'm saying to myself, all right, let's take away this 3-headed monster. Okay, now it's going to be really, really hard because those are 3 great players on the Lightning. Say what you want about them. We're not the biggest fans of the Lightning due to reasons explained, but they do have a great 3-star team. Okay, and they got a good supporting cast that can help too. But if you take away at least 2 of those 3 stars, it's going to be really tough, but if you can at least do that and the Panthers offense can get a little bit better, I can definitely see the Panthers end up taking a win. So next game, Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, it's going to be in Tampa Bay.
Correct.
Okay, see that now that's even more bad news for the Panthers. Why? Because Tampa Bay is, again, the Lightning's home. However, they're both in Florida. So who's to say some Florida Panther fans might not be there? They're both in Florida. So that's a good news for the Panthers. But if I'm the Panthers, I'm going in, and game 3 is crucial. Take a game from, okay, if you could take 2 games in Tampa Bay, perfect. If you could take 1 game in Tampa Bay, I think that's good enough. They get 1. I believe this game, it's got to be best of 4, right? You got to win 4 games to advance.
Yeah, it's a best of 7. You have to win 4 games.
All right, so you take 1 game in Tampa Bay. Okay, they take the other game, you're down 3-1. Is that great? No, but at least the next 2 games, I believe, are in Florida. Are in the Florida Panthers.
They're at so basically, like, how like the NBA, the first 4 games are like the first 2 are in like the highest seed, and then the next 2 are in the lowest seed. Then it goes back. So in this case, it was in Florida and on the BBT Center in Sunrise. Now it's in Tampa Bay, but then game 5 is going back to the BBT Center, but then game 6 is going back to the Amalie Center. And then game 7, if it's necessary, we'll go back to the BB&T Center where it all started.
Okay, you're right. So I say Florida. If they could get 2 games in Tampa, that'd be great. If they can get one, I think they still have a chance. I think they still have a chance. But the thing is, Florida's offense has to be better for next game. And again, it can't just be good offense and bad defense, or good defense and bad offense. It can't be that. You have to have both in order to beat this Lightning team, because this is a strong Lightning team, Nate. I wouldn't be surprised if this team goes back to the Stanley Cup. And we're gonna be real with you. I know you're a Bruins fan. You're not going to say that, but again, I'm not going to be biased because my team's not in it. So with that being said, the Lightning have a chance. The Lightning have a chance to go back. They have that good team. So the Florida Panthers got to figure it out. They got to try to get the three-headed monster less interactive with the team, with their team. They got to get them less involved. And then as for the Panthers offense, it has to be better. But if you keep that same defense, just a little bit better next game, Florida Panthers could have a chance at winning. But honestly, Nate, I got the Lightning win this series, to be honest with you, Nate. I just think what I said is asking too much for the Florida Panthers. But who knows? They could prove me wrong. So with that being said, I wish both teams the best of luck, and we'll see what happens come game 3.
Right, absolutely. That game's on tomorrow at 6:30, so make sure you go check that out. Now let's talk about the next game, Mario. The Minnesota Wild and Vegas Golden Knights. Let me tell you something, Mario, okay? I had a lot of complaints about the Golden Knights offense in the first game. I remember we were talking about it. Their defense was absolutely on point, but their offense just did not show up whatsoever. They didn't even score a goal in that first game, but they showed up, Mario. They definitely showed up indeed. They won that game 3-1, and now the series is tied 1-1 going back to Minnesota. And again, Mario, Marc-Andre Fleury did a really, really great job. He saved 34 out of 35, which is 97%. Alex Tuch had a great game. He had 2 goals. And he had 5 shots on goal, so that's really good. And Jonathan Marchessault had one goal, and 3 shots on goal. So the team did really, really good, Mario. Lots of assists. So overall, the Vegas Golden Knights offense did a really, really good job this game, Mario. They really did. The only goal from the Minnesota Wild came from Matt Dumba. He only scored 1, and he had 4 shots on goals. But Cam Talbot did a decent job. He had 25 saves out of 28 shots. And that's a percentage of 89%. So, obviously the main factor you can point to is for why the Minnesota Wild losses. Like you were saying before, you got to protect that goalie. And obviously there weren't that many shots made. So, but either way, you got to protect your goalie, whether there's not that many shots or not, and obviously another factor is the Wild offense just wasn't there. And let's be honest, it wasn't, in game 1, it was different. They won in overtime, but still the offense just wasn't there. And that was my complaint with the Minnesota Wild is that offense going to be able to keep up with the Vegas Golden Knights? We talked about how extremely experienced this Vegas Golden Knights team is, Mario. And I'm going to be honest, it's proven to be too much. You know what I mean? So their game 3 for this series is also tomorrow. It's at 9:30. It's going to be in Minnesota. So now the Wild are going back home, and you're facing the Golden Knights. You're facing one of the best teams in the league. My advice for the Wild: you need to capitalize, and you need to capitalize quick, just like that, like that, because you're facing the Vegas Golden Knights. You're going back home, and now this team looks like it's got it on the gas, and I don't think they're going to let go, Mario. I really don't think they're going to let off the gas. So the Minnesota Wild needs to figure it out. You know what I mean? You're going back home. You're playing in front of your home crowd. So now it's time for you to capitalize. So, with that being said, best of luck to the Golden Knights and Wild. And we'll just see what happens, Mario.
Very physical game. This was a very, very physical. I think
Yeah.
kind of a violent game too, because there were almost a bunch of fights that broke out, but the referees were able to stop it before anything could actually happen. Very physical game there. These teams, both of them didn't seem like they enjoyed each other that night. But yeah, Nate, let me tell you something. I'm gonna say, I said it before. I'm gonna say this one more time. Okay. I love Marc-Andre Fleury. I love that man. Let me tell you something. I think that right there is the best goalie in the game. I'm being real. Okay? Hate me all you like. I think that's the best goalie in the game. No doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. And not even that, Nate. I got to go to the Wild, okay? Talbot has been playing a great game. Okay, but last game, I feel like towards the end, it kind of took a little bit of a decrease with Talbot, okay? But regardless, though, the defense for that game, most of it was really, really good. Okay, I'm looking at early in the game, and I'm saying to myself, I'm thinking, oh my God, these teams are not giving up an inch to each other. Like every single time you see, both teams were stopping fast breaks tremendously. Like it got to the point where I see two people, where I'm seeing two people go for the fast break, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere you see another guy on the other team just even up the score, and then they gotta kind of like they gotta turn around and re-strategize. It was they were both amazing defensively. But there was the first goal by the Wild that they scored on Fleury. And by the way, the reason why they scored on Fleury was this is actually really smart. And if I'm the Wild, I'm actually thinking about doing this a lot more. They had a guy on the Wild stand in front of Fleury, so Fleury couldn't see where the puck was. And so he stood in front of Fleury. Fleury couldn't see the puck. They ended up shooting it and getting the goal in. If I'm the Wild, because of how good Fleury is, I'm doing that a lot more. I'm having a guy stand in front of Fleury's face, and I'm having somebody take that shot on that side where he's standing, so Fleury can't see it. But right after that, Nate, probably like 30 seconds later, Vegas capitalizes, and that goal was scored by I'm gonna get it right now. That goal. It was scored by Marchessault. He ended up scoring that goal like 30 seconds after the first one, and then it was tied. And then Vegas ended up scoring another one later on in the game, which ended up taking the lead. And then the third period came, and the Wild ended up emptying their net. But then they had to do a face off from the Wild side of the ice, so Talbot had to get back into the net. But did the Vegas Knights care? Hell no, they didn't. What did Tuck do? He said, "Let me just go score this third goal real quick on Talbot." Okay, we're not going to score when the goal is empty. We're going to score right on him to prove our dominance, and that's what they did. Okay, and I think towards the end, I think Talbot kind of like, kind of decreased a little. I think he kind of. I'm trying to think of the word. I think towards the end, Talbot just let go of one too many goals, if that makes any sense. But defense for the Wild did absolutely great. They only let go of 28 shots on Talbot, and Talbot was able to save 25 of them. So credit to him. But you go to the Vegas Knights, and the Vegas Knights, I'm gonna be honest with you, their defense might have been slightly less, but it didn't matter because Marc-Andre Fleury was there to just control the game. And that's what Marc-Andre Fleury does best. Marc-Andre Fleury does a great job of keeping his team in the game. And I got to give him a lot of credit. I think that is the star of the game right there. Or you could point to Tuck. Tuck had 2 goals and he did a good job as well. But I think the next game, Nate, I believe it's going to be is it in Minnesota?
Yes.
Okay, so Minnesota definitely needs to get. So again, Game 3 is going to be very crucial. Whenever the series is tied, that Game 3 is super crucial. Luckily for the Wild, it's in Minnesota, so that's a game I would capitalize on. You gotta have one of your best games of the series right there in Minnesota. Um, but with that being said, right now, Nate, it's a little too. I think it's a little too soon to tell who really took the momentum because again, it's tied 1-1, and even though Vegas had a good game, it was in Vegas. And I believe the first game was the first game in Vegas.
Correct.
Okay, so see, Minnesota did something good. They took one game out of Vegas, which means that if I'm Vegas, this third game is crucial to both Vegas and Minnesota because it's in Minnesota. Minnesota can get a win at home and then end up getting prepared for the series in Vegas. But if Vegas takes a game in Minnesota, Minnesota's backs are against the boards. So this third game is important. If I'm Minnesota, I'm keeping the same defense, but the offense has to be better. You cannot keep scoring a goal a game. It's not going to work. Okay. First game, defense was great enough to stop them from scoring a goal. Second game, they dropped 3 on you. You cannot keep scoring a goal a game. It's not going to cut it, Nate. Okay. So if I'm the leaders of this team of Minnesota, if I'm Eriksson Ek, if I'm Dumba, if I'm if I'm Foligno, if I'm these guys, Nate, I'm getting my team involved more. You can't keep scoring 1 goal a game. Offensively, you have to get involved more. Defensively, keep up the great work. You're doing fine. But offensively, you have to be better. And if I'm Vegas, Marc-Andre Fleury, keep doing what you're doing because, hey, you're doing a fantastic job. Oh, my God. But if I'm Vegas, it's the same thing. The offense has to be a little bit better. Last game, towards the end, they did what they were supposed to do. But in the beginning, it just wasn't there. So if I'm both these teams, I'm trying to create plays as coaches. I'm trying to create the plays to get the offense open more so they can start getting more goals. If I'm Minnesota, keep putting a decoy in front of Marc-Andre Fleury's face so he can't see the goal. And if I'm Vegas, take advantage of Talbot when when you got him off balance, or take advantage of the openings that you have against Talbot. He's a good goalie, but take advantage of it. So with that being said, again, I wish both teams the best of luck, and we'll see what happens in Game 3. It's going to be a great series. A lot of these series are going to be great, Nate.
Right, absolutely. And Game 3 is tomorrow at 9:30 at the XL Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. So make sure you guys go check that out. Now, let's get to the last game that we have to talk about today, which is actually the start of the series. And that series is between the Winnipeg Jets and Edmonton Oilers. Game 1 is on today at 9 p.m. So make sure you check that out. It's going to be at the Rogers Place in Edmonton. Very, very beautiful arena, Mario. Architecturally gorgeous. It really is. But yeah, let's get to these two teams, Mario, because these are two teams we haven't talked about yet. I'll start off with the Winnipeg Jets. They're 30-23-3, which is third in the North. They have 170 goals, 464 points, and 294 assists. So pretty good numbers, Mario. As for the Edmonton Oilers, they're 35-19-2, and they're second in the North, so they're a much better team. They have 183 goals, 315 assists, and 498 points. So they're really close, Mario. They're relatively close to one another. This is going to be a really good series. Obviously the Canadian teams are facing each other, with the divisions being split up and everything, and with all the travel things going on. So, in case if you were wondering, that's why this is the way it is. But let me tell you something, Mario. I think this is going to be a good series. The Jets have been playoff contenders for quite some time now, but my problem with the Jets is that they haven't been able to get over that hump. They're one of those teams that have everything they need. They just can't get to that next level. As for the Edmonton Oilers, they've been slowly building. Before last year, they weren't really that great, but now they're starting to build up that momentum, and they were playing really, really good this year. And I expect them to do so in this series. So with that being said, Mario, give me the Edmonton Oilers. I'm gonna say 6 games because the Winnipeg Jets are a pretty tough team. They usually don't really give up, and that's usually what they do. But I got the Edmonton Oilers winning the series in 6 games. So give me the Edmonton Oilers. I think they'll win the series.
I agree with you, but I got the Oilers in 5. And the reason
Oilers
why and the reason why I have that is because when you look at the stats for the Oilers, they're just that much better, Nate. They average 3.25 goals per game, which is 8th, and they average 2.68 goals against them, which is 9th. And then you look at the Winnipeg Jets and their stats, they average 3.02 goals per game, which is 12th. And they average 2.73 goals against them, which is 12th as well. And again, when you look at who they have, Nate, here's what I'm saying. If I'm Winnipeg, there is one man, just one guy. That's it. Just one guy that you got to look out for. If you want to talk about a beast and a head of the beast, there's no guy better than this man. And that's Connor McDavid. You need to cut that head off immediately. I'm sorry, but if you let Connor McDavid get involved in this game offensively, you guys are done. Okay, let me just read his stats real quick. He has 33 goals this year, 71 assists. That's 104 points. Cut that head off quick. Okay, let's go to Winnipeg. Okay, their star player, Mark Sheffield. He has 21 goals, 40 assists. That's 61 points. Do you see the big difference here between one star player on the Oilers and the other one on the Winnipeg Jets? I'm not trashing the Winnipeg Jets. They got some good guys. Shout out to Pierre-Luc Dubois. He used to be a Blue Jacket for a long time. But again, when I'm looking at the Edmonton Oilers, Nate, that's the man you got to watch out for right there. Stop Connor McDavid at all costs. Okay? Force somebody else to score. If you got to double Connor McDavid, that's cool too. Stop him though. Do not let that man get involved, because if he gets involved, it's game over. That's what I'm going to say. Now, going to the goalies, the goalie for the Oilers, his name is Mike Smith. He has a record of 21-6-2. He has a save percentage of basically 92%, and he allows 2.31 goals per game. And then the goalie for the Winnipeg Jets, his name is Connor Hellebuyck. I can't pronounce that name. He has a record of 23-17-3. He has a save percentage of 91.5, and he allows 2.6 goals per game. So again, even the goalie, I think I got to give the advantage to the Edmonton Oilers. And again, the Edmonton Oilers, Nate, obviously they have Connor McDavid, who is just a star. He's just a beast. He's that guy. But they also got some other good guys too. Mike Smith, obviously we talked about him. He's a good goalie. Leon Draisaitl, he's a good goalie. He's a good player as well. A centerman, my bad. Yeah, you really look at these guys, Nate. The Oilers got a good team, but the head of that beast is Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid has proven himself to be a great player for the past few years, one of the best players in the game, you know? So I'm cutting off that head. I'm cutting off the head of the beast, which is Connor McDavid. I'm allowing somebody else to take the scoring responsibilities. That's what you have to do if you're the Winnipeg Jets. But honestly, Nate, the reason why I picked the Oilers in 5 is because I just think it's too much to ask for a team to stop Connor McDavid for 7 games, you know, at most. If you don't have that like star, like here, like for example, I can see the Lightning doing it. You know why? Because the Lightning have 3 stars. Again, I can see the Bruins doing it. Why? Because the Bruins have more than 1 star. You know, so they got guys who can stop them. But again, when you got somebody like Connor McDavid, it's gonna be tough, man. It's going to be tough. But I got the Oilers in 5. I just think Connor McDavid is too great of a player to be stopped. In order for him to lose a series to a team that doesn't have a star. So with that being said, I got the Oilers. But if I'm the Winnipeg Jets, stop Connor McDavid, and that is your best chance of winning this series. And if I'm the Oilers, you have to rely on Connor McDavid. You know, like you've been the whole season. Put the puck on the stick of your leader. It's just as simple as that. So with that being said, I wish both teams the best of luck, but I got the Oilers in 5.
Right, absolutely. And again, that series starts tonight at 9 at the Rogers Place in Edmonton. So make sure you guys go check that out. And that is NHL playoffs for you guys. More round 1 coming soon.